Hey everyone, this is Sarah, Pearls of Wisdom and Food, with my cuppa in my glassa, and we're going to be here talking about carnivore and some keto and some carnivish, but most of us are practicing the carnivore lifestyle, and so here we are. I have a whining cat below me, so you may be hearing from him. Nothing pleases him if I'm up and not feeding him. Do you have cats like that? So, anyway, here we are today. Welcome. If you're new, this is one of those just eclectic sort of channels. I'm I'm one that has been known to be strict and structured, but being off center, it helps a little bit, so it doesn't make it quite so, serious. And but I do maintain my carnivore lifestyle. I made that decision probably about 9 months ago now, and I just have animal products with dairy. I do have some dairy, I do have eggs, and then the rest is mostly a beef diet. So, mhm. So that is how I roll with my food, and I live a rather austere life with Greg, and he is not carnivore, not even close. He is 100% standard American diet. Usually on Saturdays, we have a Jeep Wrangler. It's kind of like a fun in the sun kind of car. And he uses it for the dump, and he uses it for when he goes plant shopping, and he uses it when he goes for his goodie shopping at the grocery store. So he went yesterday and he came back with, like, the grocery hauls that, like, a lot of us do or used to do. There are no words. There are no words. So um, it's kind of amusing. Fortunately, the food isn't triggering, um, because most of the things he eats as his standard American treats wouldn't have been on my short list of what I love. So it kind of works. So, yeah, I have some form of beef every day, most every day. Some days I'll have an omelet with like half of a ribeye. Other days I'll have the whole ribeye. Other days I'll have half of a ribeye with some scrambled top sirloin, also from the Brazilian butcher. Now, I go today at 8 to pick up my ribeyes for the week. They cut them real thick. And so the butcher said to me, the owner said to me, he's been down in Brazil and he's back. And he said, how come you've never tried this setup? And it's like, well, what is it? And it's called flap. It's called something else in Portuguese because it's a Portuguese, well, it's Brazilian. So everything is really Portuguese language. And so it's called something on the menu above. And then it's called flap meat. And I said, well, what is that? So he took it out and he unrolled it. And it's this delightful looking fatty piece of meat. And all of a sudden I got the idea to keep it rolled up, because it's this flat piece of meat. And then when it's rolled up, oh gosh, it looks like a Debbie's Swiss roll. Funny that would come to mind. And so keeping it rolled up and then slicing it. And it's very similar to Greg's pinwheels that he likes that are ready made at the store with spinach and mozzarella. But I hold no interest for those, and the egg would be way too hot to have any of that cheese or spinach last for Greg anyway. So Greg got some 100% cotton twine at the store. That was the only non-standard American diet thing on his list. And so today, because that was Friday when I was just there for the burger. So today when I go in, I'm going to get that. I'm going to try it. So roll it up tight with the twine and cook it on the grill like a steak, and see how that tastes. So we'll be trying that out. So who says you have to be bored when you go carnivore, right? So that's what I'm going to be doing today. It's kind of exciting. So far this week, I've been scheduled to work at the police department. I guard the cells there, and I used to help with prisoners, but they stopped that once the virus got too, the momentum built on it. So I only deal with them once they're behind the plexiglass cell. And, but I've gone in my last two shifts at midnight only to be sent home because there's no prisoners. And I guess it's called teleworking. So that's kind of funny. So that's kind of cool. I work again Wednesday at midnight. So we'll see how that goes too. So it's just an interesting time, as most of you know. Um, and so we just go along and we, you know, do what we have to do. So I've heard different protocols. Yep, that's still with me. I've heard different protocols for grocery stores, and one of the turtles below in comments wrote that her friend lives in Canada and went to the store, and there was a huge long line. And with the 6 feet in between everybody, it went around a block, I guess. And so if you go there and you're wearing gloves, they make you take off your gloves, wash your hands, and put on another pair of gloves just to go into the store. So where I know at Market Basket, the place I like to go, it's like a 15-20 minute drive, and they have that protocol going, and they do have the senior hour, 6 to 7. So I might try that this morning for Greg's fresh squeezed orange juice. It's the only place they have it, and I hope they have it going that early. But same deal. And so I do anticipate a line, but a shorter one with seniors. I don't know. Maybe everybody starts to think the same way. Let's get there as soon as they open and get what we need and get home. So we'll see. So I'll be doing that today too, and going to the Brazilian butchery. So that's my big plan, and continuing to stay at home. I follow John Campbell, as many of you know. He's in England, and he's a doctor, a retired instructor as well, and his videos are superb. They're done daily, sometimes more than one, which is a treat. And he does the global look, and he's just so on it. He's excellent to watch. I also watched London Real, Real, with Brian Rose, and he is, I think he must be an expatriate living in London, but because there's like a British flag, I think, behind him when he talks. But he has wonderful interviews with people, and what I like about him is it's not just about the disease, it's also about the financial part, the worldwide economic part, and because we are all so connected. And the fascinating parts are, of course, is how dependent we've become on China, or as Trump says, China, on the things that we need. And how when Trump first became elected, it was all about make America great again and buy American, right? And so it's like if there was ever a time when we needed to learn what buy American, made in America, how important that is, it's now. And so we've become fully independent, of course, with our oil, and can sell it. And so the just the disparity, I guess, that one of the things about listening to London people, English people, UK people, is they know things about us that mainstream media won't tell us. Very interesting. So one of the discoveries is how we keep making things like masks and sending them to Germany, and then we have to import masks from China. Tell me where that makes sense again. So they have their finger on the truth versus what mainstream media wants to know. They must buy a lot of cans of frosting to frost up what they tell us and make it all pretty and things like that. It's just very, very, very interesting. So I know that when we when we get better as a world and everything um, is changed but can get better and go back to the business of business, it would be interesting to see how many more industries and businesses can be built and thrive here in the United States. So if we get into this jam again, which apparently we will, that we'll be better prepared for taking care of our own. So it's a fascinating look at things. And I know that I've always loved turning to British news sources because they can tell the truth a little bit better. That's fascinating. Does anybody else do that? Just wondering. So, as many of you saw a couple of weeks ago, I tried a live, and maybe by the time you're listening to this, because I do them about a week in advance, there'll be another live. It was kind of fun seeing all of you and just having that dialogue going. It went totally, totally fast, and it was just nice. It was community. It totally was community because people could talk and then, say something to the other person that commented. I enjoyed it. And, I will never be looking for an IT job, just in case any of you wanted to know. This is my life behind me. I've got my current, as you can see, the bright yellow and the red. Those are my Banana Republic wool, like tailored coats, just plain. And then Greg's plants. There's no green screen here with cooking steaks on an auto wild grill. You're just not going to see it. So we do the best we can. And for a lot of you that watch this, I'm sure you're in the same level of school of technical training. So I made it through that. I wanted to see how it worked, and I did it. And there are about 20, 25 different people commenting, so it was fun. So we try to keep our spirits high here, and we try to keep our abstinence at 100%. Many of you know that 100% abstinence is a whole lot easier than saying, I'm going to be 90 to 95% abstinent. Well, what does that mean? Well, what does it mean? Does it mean that you're having things that are not necessarily carnivore that fit in? And how do you know? How do you know that, like, having, like, say, a burger with, 5 to 10% non-carnivore things keep you in what works for you, like different macros work when you're keto. So to me, it's too slippery. It's just easiest for me to have the animal products. For me, the cheese and the eggs keep it fresh and alive and unbored, right? Because I think boredom is probably what leads people into a less than 100% carnivore lifestyle. Keto is way too slippery for me, just like Weight Watchers was way too slippery. I could get my Ms. Slick, who, as I say, is on both shoulders, she could convince me that, all of the things could be had, that it's quite okay and legal. I think that's what gets a lot of people into trouble, is having something that they think is legal in their food plan. But for somebody like me, I'm an abstainer, not a moderator. Doctors should be just sent to the guillotine or something like that for saying, just eat everything in moderation. I don't know how sick and overweight that kept you growing up. I was a fat teenage girl, and moderation was something that they would promote, and I dangerous. And then, of course, I developed my little alcohol problem, and it wasn't little, and it was a big problem. That along with the food, because it was like two of the different addictions that one can have, along with smoking. I smoked until I was, I think, 24, and so that's how it went. And so doing something in moderation, smoking in moderation, drinking in moderation. Well, of course, later on, it became eating in moderation. I drank like a pig, I smoked like a pig, and I ate like a pig. So How do you do that moderately? Doctor's orders, right? Yeah, I'm only going to have one bottle of wine a day instead of the two. Crazy. I'm only going to smoke one pack of cigarettes when I'm already drunk instead of having, two packs because I'm drunk, where you have one lit over here, one lit over here, and you light another one. Yeah, that's how I smoked. That's how I drank. And how I ate was the same. And, food was my way out of every hangover that I had. And I had many. I bounced. I bounced a lot. I drank until I was 36. And so I bounced out of my hangovers quite quickly at that young age, just like somebody that does carnivore at 35 can probably, lose inches, in their sleep overnight, one night. And and so food was my way out of hangovers. And so I could eat, a boatload of food to get through my hangover. And do you think I was having steak and eggs? No. Total junk. I was probably having, I know that I thought my hangover cure was a very rare cheeseburger with French fries and a classic Coke. And because I worked in a pub bar, the French fries I could make myself, so I could keep dunking them into the fryer later. So they were just saturated with probably, what was it, canola oil, vegetable oil. Oh yeah, totally unhealthy. And so that was my way out of hangover. So if you got a cure for the hangover, then what's to keep you from drinking the next time, right? So it was not an easy time. It was totally dedicated to addictions and maintaining them and feeling better after having too much of them. And so this is a whole lot better. I do OMAD, so I have my one meal a day, usually between 2 and 3. I have a meatza pizza, which means that it's just cheese and meat, and one egg, and in the crust, and I maintain that. That has kept me. I don't know. It's my slice of like the former life. It's gooey, it's cheesy, and it works for the week. And then on Sundays, I start back with my mostly meat regimen with eggs a couple of times a week and cheese a couple of times a week. So that's how I do that. I don't know how you do your food plan, but I hope you're successful at it. It works for you. Going from meal to meal doesn't have clock watching or snacking or any of the things that could keep you in trouble, or kind of like spraying Pam on the slippery slope, give you a ride back into the standard American diet world. Hopefully you get enough fats. I've become friends with fats. There's nothing like a little hunk of butter, hard butter, kind of like melting in my mouth as I make a cup of coffee with a little butter in it. Oh yeah, that's a treat, right? Didn't used to be, but it is now, and it just works for me. So as I look down, I see I'm almost at 19 minutes. Whew, not bad for something that I had no idea what I was going to say today, right? These are seat of my pants times, just like they probably are for you. So enjoy the rest of your cuppa, or reheat it, or maybe you're done with your rebounder June after this video, and I will see you the next time here. This has been Sarah, Pearls of Wisdom and Food with a carnivore lifestyle and all the other stuff surrounding it. I'll see you the next time. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye for now.